Have you ever received a phone call from a political pollster? I get those calls pretty regularly. I live in an area where apparently not a lot of people are willing to talk to pollsters, but pollsters seem to be really interested in how people in my area feel. Well, I guess it's either that or they just know I'm a sucker and I'm always going to answer their questions. If you have received a call from a political pollster, I have two questions for you. Number one, did you answer their questions? Number two, if you did answer their questions, did you answer honestly? Right now, people on the left are concerned that, as in previous election cycles, polls are seriously overestimating Democrats. Are they? Well, let's take a look. This is JP with Political Pop Culture, and this is my take. Hey, before I jump into today's topic, I would like to ask you if you like the content that we produce, if you enjoy the videos that we put out, please consider hitting the like button, then clicking on subscribe and hitting the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know whenever we add new content like this. Plus, you'll be helping the channel by telling the algorithm to show our content to more people who may be interested. Every little bit really does help, so thank you. Now, I've got to be honest. While I always answer questions for pollsters, I never, ever answer them honestly. Maybe it's because of my inherent distrust of the system, maybe it's because I don't really feel like giving someone I don't know my honest political opinion, or hell, who knows? Maybe it's because I'm just an immature jerk. But giving you that bit of information informs the reason for my earlier question. If you answer questions from pollsters, do you answer them honestly? Guy Benson had a story on this topic this morning over on townhall.com, and it got me thinking about the past few election cycles and just how far off the polls were in many prominent races. In his article, Benson says, quote, polling errors have not been unusual or infrequent in recent cycles, with most of the misses inflating Democrats' standing compared to their actual vote share performance when the votes were counted. Some of the more infamous examples in the last few years were Florida's statewide polling in 2018. Both Rick Scott and Ron DeSantis were projected to lose, then both Republicans won, and Maine's 2020 Senate race. Benson went on to show in a tweet from November of 2020 just how wrong the polls were in Maine. Reminder that not one of these polls dating back to February shows Collins ahead, let alone with a near majority. Now she has won decisively. There are some big league polling problems in American politics. What a massive win for her. Now, to be fair here, Ron DeSantis only beat Andrew Gillum in the Florida governor's race by 0.4% of the vote. That's a difference of only a little more than 32,000 votes. Rick Scott won his Senate seat by only 10,000 votes. The Real Clear Politics average showed both Andrew Gillum and Bill Nelson leading in their races by 3.6 points and 2.4 points respectively. In other words, the polls versus the actual results really come down within the margin of error. Susan Collins in Maine, however, that was a different story, and it's a story that looks like we may see repeated again this year. As Guy Benson pointed out in his tweet, every single poll showed Sarah Gideon leading Susan Collins, and by an average of about 6 points. In the end, though, Collins ended up defeating Gideon by a whopping 8.6 points. That's a difference of nearly 15 points from what the polls showed versus the final result. The polls weren't even close. None of them. The big story this election cycle is going to be whether or not Republicans take back control of the House. Now, regardless of what polling tells you, the smart money is on Republicans winning big in the House races. The party of first-term presidents generally loses about 27 seats in the midterm elections. So the real story here is going to be whether or not Republicans overperform or underperform. If 27 is your over-under, which have you got? Me? I'm going with the over. So once again, I'm going to ask, are people being honest with pollsters? Are people like me giving crazy answers to skew their data? Or are the pollsters just telling people what they think they want to hear? As in previous years, we won't know until after the elections come just how accurate or inaccurate the polls really are. I'm going to put a link to Guy Benson's Town Hall article in the description below. If you're interested in this topic, I strongly recommend checking it out. It's a great read with some really insightful information. Well, that's my take. What's your take? You can let me know your take in the comments below. You can also let me know your take by joining the cult at PollPopCult on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, and Truth Social. Thank you for listening.